In this video, we're going to talk about the Doctor Who panel at San Diego Comic-Con after this. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd. In San Diego's Comic-Con, the Doctor Who panel met with Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnal and a couple of the new companions that are going to be in this coming season of Doctor Who, which begins at the beginning of the next year. Jodie Whittaker talked about some of the things that might be fairly predictable, that as a child growing up, she watched Doctor Who but did not completely identify with the character. Young girls now can look at her and see a role model, if you will, for the adventurous Doctor. So there's that, but there's much more than that, as we've talked about in the past that Doctor Who is going to be changed not just in the Doctor herself, but the TARDIS is going to be completely redone. If I can find a picture, I'm going to put it up. I've seen some artist sketches, which I was not able to parse for this, but what it looks like is that the TARDIS is going to be kind of embedded into the outer visage of it. And so instead of just seeing the doors to the TARDIS, you'll see the doors and two more sides, and with the windows and such. And so that's kind of an interesting way of looking at it. We've seen the sonic screwdriver, which we do have a picture of, and it seems that that's going to be kind of the theme. It's going to be a little more metallurgical. It's going to be a little more textural than we've seen the TARDIS in a long time, at least since David Tennant's TARDIS, which had much more texture of it and less shiny panels and right angles, as we've seen in the second TARDIS that Matt Smith had and most of Peter Capaldi's TARDIS. Since there are going to be 3 companions, these companions are going to have the opportunity to go off and do some things with pair off, for instance. And while everything rotates around the Doctor, there'll be some stuff that deals directly with the companions as well, and that's going to be kind of a new thing. Also, they said that there's not going to be, there's no Daleks in at least most of the first part of the season. Chris Chibnal said that so far what they filmed, he hasn't seen any Daleks. Now, he's being cagey about it, but I think one of the things they want to do is to create some new monsters, some new characters, some new villains, and not always jump back to the Daleks and the Cybermen. They're trying to bring in a new generation of viewers, and by doing so, they need to be able to explain their world to a new group of people. All of the other alien species that we've dealt with, the Master and Missy and the Unit and all of the other things, probably will not be very prominently featured in this series as they kick us off into this new era with Chris Chibnal at the helm. So that is one of the things that we picked up from Comic-Con. Now, they don't want to tell us a whole lot of other things. There are a few things that just can't talk about. But what it looks like is this, is that the Doctor is ejected from the TARDIS as it's blowing up, and apparently it is reconstituting itself. We don't know how soon she'll be reunited. From the scenes that we've seen in the trailers, it looks like that she's actually forged a new sonic screwdriver out of whatever she can find, and is able then to use it and has kept this. And so it would seem that this motif is going to be repeated on for much of what the Doctor has. And that should be interesting. The first episode with Matt Smith had where his TARDIS was repairing itself, where he didn't have a sonic screwdriver. He had to do everything just with his wits, and I think that this is going to show the same thing with Jodie Whittaker, where she's going to have to come in and use her wits and her skills and her Time Lord abilities to put together whatever it is that she needs in order to get on her feet as she finds or catches up with, or whatever nature it is that they'll be reunited with the TARDIS. That's one thing they did not show in the preview trailer on this. There was no picture of the TARDIS at all. The only place that we've seen it, as I said, is in pictures, in artist sketches. We haven't seen anything practical just yet. So they may be some time before we see the inside of the TARDIS. In fact, John Pertwee's time, they almost never showed the inside of the TARDIS. We didn't see much of it to speak of until Tom Baker, when he was able to get his sense of time back, and the time rotor, they were able to actually go inside the TARDIS, and it changed somewhat from previous Doctors. And so we expect a pretty radical redesign. But one of the people in the audience asked Jodie Whittaker if there would be any girly elements to the show. She was kind of hopeful that there would be. And she said, no, you know, the Doctor is really kind of genderless. And so what we will see is not things that are more effective of a female Doctor, but just a different look. A different look that you might have built for another male Doctor had that been the case. And while they're not going to make a big deal of the Doctor being a woman, there is going to be the reaction to some people that they meet as to who is this woman telling us how to do things. So the Doctor is going to have a lot of proving of herself to do. And but there's not going to be any angst there as to, oh, what am I going to do now that I'm a woman? That doesn't seem to be the case that's going to go with this particular series. So that's what we know so far. Not a whole lot revealed at Comic-Con, not a lot to be expected to be revealed at Comic-Con, except for the longer trailer, which of course put in the description here. But we'd like to know what you think about the new Doctor. There's some people that had some objections to being a woman Doctor. I think that if you look back on some of the previous episodes where the Doctor has always been kind of an asexual person. I mean, take out David Tennant for a moment, but all the rest of them are kind of, I think Christopher Eccleston told Billie Piper at one point that, you know, you're pretty for a human. And she says, what do you mean by that? And he says, well, I'm not human. You're just a different species. And so that's kind of where we're going on this, I believe. We'll keep you updated as the series comes out and as they reveal more. Meantime, please subscribe. Please hit the bell. Well, when the next video comes out, we want you to be able to see it. So please do. Till then, don't go far.